You're listening to Civic Media. You can tune into any of our live shows on any radio station across the state with the Civic Media app. Find us in your phone's app store and listen anytime, anywhere. This is your WMDX Daily News Roundup for Mad Radio 92.7 FM and 1580 AM in Madison.
For 92.7 WMDX News, I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. A judge has ruled that the Trump administration cannot revoke the visa of a UW-Madison student just weeks before he's supposed to graduate. According to the State Journal, Krishlal Isardasani is a 21-year-old student from India. He's a month away from completing his computer engineering degree. The paper reports the Trump administration canceled his visa April 4th. Federal Judge William Conley issued a 12-page order saying his visa was wrongly terminated and Isardasani didn't have any due process to correct that. His ruling also said after educational expenses for 3.5 years, Isardasani would face irreparable harm if he was forced to leave. At least 24 UW-Madison international students and alumni have had their visas revoked. When you include all the other UW system campuses across the state, that number climbs to more than 40. The Trump administration has canceled more than 1,000 student visas nationwide. UW-Madison officials have told local outlets they're not getting notified when people's visas are canceled. They have staff just checking databases every couple hours. A key point for the Trump administration has been eliminating diversity, equity, and inclusion measures. The Department of Education has threatened universities, including UW-Madison, to get rid of their DEI programs, or you could lose your federal funding. The Trump administration has frozen billions of dollars to 7 universities, including Harvard, because university leaders refuse to comply with the president's DEI demands. DEI programs were first created after the Civil Rights Act to level the playing field for people from disadvantaged backgrounds, whether that was veterans, people of color, women, or people with disabilities. Back in 2023, after a big battle over DEI, the UW system froze diversity hires, renamed about 40 DEI positions, and got rid of an affirmative action hiring initiative. And in return, Republicans in the legislature approved staff pay raises and funded big construction projects. But they also ordered an audit into DEI spending in Wisconsin. Well, that audit is finished. Here's Joanne Krulotz.
Republican-ordered audits have found that Wisconsin state agencies and the University of Wisconsin system didn't track total spending on diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. The audit found that neither UW nor the 15 state agencies that were examined specifically tracked how much they spent on DEI efforts in the 2023-24 fiscal year. However, the audit estimates that tens of millions of dollars were spent on such initiatives. Wisconsin Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has pledged to end diversity efforts in state government, saying that such initiatives are cancerous and that he wants a society that is truly colorblind.
State Department of Administration Secretary Kathy Blumenfeld says a lot of university spending on DEI includes programs dictated by state law, HR best practices, and good recruitment. And the NFL draft is only about a week away. Fans may be thinking about what to bring, teams are finalizing their strategies, and players are choosing which style to wear. But law enforcement is preparing too. Here's Lisa Hale.
The NFL Draft 2025 is coming to the Green Bay area April 24th through the 26th, and Green Bay police want people to know they are ready. Green Bay PD Captain Ben Allen says that the police department has been working with other agencies, such as the fire department and Ashwaubenon PD, brainstorming different scenarios and thinking about different contingency plans to the point that they are, quote, beyond prepared for the event. The NFL Draft is expected to bring up to 300,000 visitors to the greater Green Bay area later this month.
That's Lisa Hale, and I'm Savannah Tomei Olson. You are listening to 92.7 WMDX News.
The Crew shuts out the Tigers. Hi, I'm Mike Clemens with sports. The Brewers beat Detroit 5-0, thanks to the pitching staff, led by starter Quinn Priester, holding the Tigers to just 1 hit and no runs. Pat Murphy and how GM Matt Arnold and the Brewers scouts found the 24-year-old right-hander.
It's hats off to them for finding a guy in AAA that can come and give us 2 pretty good outings so far, and looks like he's a lot to work with, and great kid and competitor, and seems like, once again, they strike again. Matt Arnold and his posse.
NBA, the Bucks holding practice, getting ready for Saturday's playoff game at noon against the Pacers. College football, the Wisconsin Badgers have lost their starting left tackle for the season due to a torn ACL. Head coach Luke Fickell on tackle Kevin Haywood.
Obviously, I think he's going to have surgery, so we're probably going to lose him and probably not going to get him back obviously, even for the season. So that was one that's going to be really difficult and tough. But, it's also a part of the game.
That's the Badgers' Luke Fickell. With sports, I'm Mike Clemens.
On your entertainment beat, I'm Pete Schwaba. Yesterday in the Hollywood Beats, I reported that White Lotus Season 3 star Amy Lou Wood was hurt by the portrayal of her character during a sketch on Saturday Night Live last weekend. She called the portrayal mean and unfunny. Wood took to Instagram to clarify that she was not upset with Sarah Sherman, the actress who played her in the sketch. She also said Saturday Night Live reached out to her and apologized privately. Katy Perry was in space for 8 minutes aboard a spacecraft sponsored by tech company Blue Origin. The spacecraft crossed the outer space barrier for a few minutes before coming back down to Earth. One of Perry's spacemates, Gail King, said Perry sang "What a Wonderful World" as they floated along. Blue Origin is owned by Jeff Bezos, whose wife, Lauren Sanchez, was also on board the flight. This marks the first time in history 6 women have gone into space on a mission that achieved almost nothing while wearing bell-bottoms. Money well spent. Here's a film that might amuse you if you're just in the mood to sort of zone out. The Amateur, starring Rami Malek, is what I would describe as halfway decent entertainment on the big screen, but there just isn't a whole lot there. Malek plays a CIA analyst who wants to avenge the death of his wife. He does just that, and there are some interesting scenes involving his revenge, but nothing is ever really explained. It's directed well, and there are some cool scenes and a good pace, but it lacks substance, and frankly, Malek seems miscast in his own film. That's right, he's also a producer. Get ready, folks, the playoffs are right around the corner. Of course, I'm talking about the music competition show, The Voice. Season 27 playoffs start in late April, and the show is adding what they call mega mentors in Sheryl Crow and Leanne Rimes. The two will be on opposing teams led by Michael Bublé and John Legend, respectively. The Voice airs Monday nights at 8 p.m. on NBC. I'd love to be a mega mentor. HBO's The Last of Us Season 2 is finally here, with the first episode airing last Sunday night. The wait seems to have been worth it for viewers as well as the network, which says Season 2 viewership for the premiere was up 13% from last season's debut episode. Sunday night's show drew 5.3 million viewers compared to 4.7 million for Season 1. The Last of Us Season 1 ended with a total of 32 million viewers. New episodes drop Sunday nights on Max. Britt Lower's star is on the rise as she will join the cast of Sender, a horror film starring Jamie Lee Curtis, who is also producing. This will not be a huge leap for Lower, generally speaking, as she's had plenty of psychological horror film training on Apple TV's hit show Severance. Deadline reports that Sender is based on a short film by director Russell Goldman called Return to Sender. For more showbiz fun, tune in to Nightlight with me, Pete Schwaba, weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. on the Civic Media Radio Network.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Bormans. A good-looking mid-April day with plenty of sunshine and a break from the wind. A high of 57. Partly cloudy tonight, a low of 38. On Thursday, a mix of clouds and sun. Showers developing later in the afternoon, maybe a storm too. A high of 62. Right now, it's 34.
That's your WMDX Daily News Roundup from Civic Media. Subscribe to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you find your podcasts. Find more news at mad.radio. The national news cycle never stops, but it can be hard to find news about your local community. Civic Media is dedicated to providing quality local and state news coverage across Wisconsin. With the Civic Media app, you can get notifications about local stories that matter to you and your community. Find the free Civic Media app in your phone's app store and choose notifications from the menu to tell us what kind of news you want to hear about.